welcome back to my channel. It's Madison here, or Dandelion. Welcome to another Deity Spotlight. Today we will be talking about Mary Magdalene. Not necessarily a deity, but a saint and definitely a spiritual being, and I think you could say she's a deity. A quick reminder that all my deity spotlights here on my channel are voted on by my channel members. So members of my channel get to vote in members only polls that go up in the community tab here on YouTube, and they get to decide which deity we're going to talk about in the next deity spotlight. And there's currently a poll up right now. If you want to be able to decide what deity I make a video on next, then hit that join button below this video and then go over to the community tab so you can cast your vote. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy these videos. So let's get started. I'm so excited to talk about Mary Magdalene today because Mary Magdalene is an obsession of mine that has been going on for quite some time now. I'm still learning more and more about her every single day because there's so much to learn about Mary Magdalene, the truth of Mary Magdalene. And so this video is going to be a very brief, basic information about Mary Magdalene. So there's a lot more to know about her than just what will be in this video. This will be the base level information for you to get started learning about Mary Magdalene or get started working with Mary Magdalene. And there might even be some tidbits in here that you might not know. If you already know of Mary Magdalene, you might learn a couple things from this video. But know that there's a lot more information out there about Mary Magdalene than just what's in this video. Maybe I can do future videos elaborating more on Mary Magdalene. I also thought about maybe eventually teaching a class on Mary Magdalene, but I think I've got even more learning to do before that time comes. So again, this is the base level information. There's more to learn than just this, but this is plenty of information to get you started. So before we get into the majority of the information about Mary Magdalene, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is you probably know Mary Magdalene, or even if you don't accept it as truth, you've heard it a million times, that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute who was kind of saved by Jesus and, repented from her sins and became Jesus's best follower and student. That is what the Catholic Church would have you believe. That is what the Catholic Church tells people. That is what the Catholic Church put in the Bible. But if you've watched my video on Lilith, you'll know that the church loves to lie. The church loves to twist the truth to make women look like demons, or to make women look inferior, or to put women in their place and put men above women. So this is another instance of the church doing that with Mary Magdalene, very much so. So again, if you've seen my Lilith video, I talk a bit about how the church has lied about Lilith and what the truth of Lilith's story is and who Lilith is. So you can check that video out if you haven't seen it. It's in the Dropbox and linked above. But Mary Magdalene, similar to Lilith, she was done dirty by the Catholic Church. So the first thing you need to know about Mary Magdalene is all that stuff you've heard that's written in the Bible, all that stuff that you hear if you have been to church, if you grew up going to church, it's all a lie. And it's a lie that was created, like I said, to put women in their place and put them beneath men. You know, the Bible very strongly is an anti-woman document, and we see this very strongly in the way that they speak about Mary Magdalene. They diminish her work as a spiritual worker, as a woman of faith, as a follower of Christ, and as Christ herself, which we'll get into in a minute. They diminish her work to just, she was a prostitute who repented for her sins and was saved by Jesus, which is such an insulting way to view her. So let's get into the truth of Mary Magdalene. Before we get into the truth, it's important to note that because we're talking about history, we're talking about lost history that was lost for a very long time, there are some gray areas. So I will be giving you information that is widely accepted to be true by historians. So that's the information I will be giving you, but know that there are gray areas. There are areas where we're not sure what the truth is because a lot of this history has been lost because it was intentionally destroyed or hidden by the church so they could just say Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. So the first thing that is important to know is that many historians believe that Mary was not so much Jesus's student as his other half. Many people think that Jesus and Mary were in a kind of partnership or marriage, equals in their relationship, and not so much Mary Magdalene being beneath Jesus. And, remember again, Jesus was not the kind of person to put himself above others. So think about that with his relationship with Mary Magdalene as well. That can be applied. Another unknown fact is that Mary Magdalene is the feminine Christ. So Jesus is widely accepted as Christ, but Mary Magdalene is also Christ. And there are a lot of books that you can read on Mary Magdalene that are very enlightening on this topic. There's a book called The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and it was lost for a very long time. And it was found with pieces missing. So it's unfortunate that we're still missing pieces. And you can look up copies of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. There are a lot of different copies that all have slightly different translations and different information that they include, but they all have the base level same Gospel of Mary Magdalene. So you can read those, and those are very helpful to get a better grasp on who Mary Magdalene truly is. But in one of my books that I have on Mary Magdalene, she directly says, "I am she, the Lord." So it's pretty powerful stuff. And when you think about sexism and misogyny and the Catholic Church, it makes sense that they would feel threatened by this equality between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. She proclaims herself the Lord. She proclaims the Lord to be a woman. Or more so, that the Lord is man and woman. So these are all things that the Catholic Church was not happy about. But it's a pretty amazing thing to grow up in this society of the Lord is a man. The Lord could never be a woman. The Lord is a man. And then to open a book and see Mary Magdalene quoted as saying, "I am she, the Lord." Amazing, mind-blowing, like chills. So you can work with Mary Magdalene as the feminine Christ, as the Lord. So knowing that this is the truth of who Mary Magdalene really is and was, what are her attributes? So with working with Mary Magdalene, we're going to be focusing a lot on faith and belief. She is the feminine Christ. She is the Lord. She is a representation of spiritual study, religious knowledge, and enlightenment. So those are all the things she represents. And she also represents power, and especially feminine power and the divine feminine. She is pure wisdom from spiritual study. Let's talk about some correspondences of Mary Magdalene and things that represent her. You can use roses to represent Mary Magdalene, rose petals or images of roses. The color white can also represent Mary Magdalene because of that divine power and enlightenment, and her being the feminine Christ. White is representing just divinity in general, so you can use white to represent her. Also the color red, and specifically red eggs and eggs. This comes from a story that is the origin story of the first Easter egg, having to do with Mary Magdalene witnessing Jesus' resurrection. So again, talking about who Mary Magdalene is, another way that the church diminishes her importance is through Jesus' resurrection. So when Jesus is resurrected, the first person to see Jesus resurrected and find out that he has resurrected is Mary Magdalene. So if Mary Magdalene is this unimportant prostitute, why would she be so important for Jesus to trust her with this experience? It just diminishes her importance to Jesus as himself and in general to the whole story of this religion and spirituality. But Mary Magdalene is the first person to see Jesus resurrected and to go to his tomb, find it empty, and then see Jesus. So she is the one who experiences this and has to relay this to others before a couple other people see Jesus resurrected later on. So after Mary Magdalene finds that Jesus has resurrected, she goes to Emperor Tiberius Caesar in Rome, and she proclaims to him with an egg in her hand that Jesus has resurrected. And the emperor kind of laughs at her and says, the likelihood of Jesus resurrecting is the same likelihood of that egg in your hand turning red. and the egg turned red right in front of them immediately. So that's both the story of the first Easter egg and Jesus' resurrection and Mary witnessing the resurrection, but also shows how Mary Magdalene is strongly associated with the color red and red eggs. You'll often see Mary Magdalene depicted in paintings and art and things, holding a red egg to show this story. Cloaks also are a strong representation of Mary Magdalene. This comes from books that I've read about her and things, but also my personal experiences with Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene is very special to me for obvious reasons, but also because when I was going through my shamanic apprenticeship, I was being led through a journey to the upper world for the first time, and I met a woman in a cloak who never spoke to me, but showed me a lot of things and communicated with me a lot in other ways without speaking in this upper world, and I didn't know who she was. And the next time I journeyed up with the guidance of my shaman, I just instantly knew when I saw her. It was like seeing an old friend. I just recognized her. And I knew immediately she was Mary Magdalene. And when I said to her, "Are you Mary Magdalene?" she just smiled. And she's always wearing a cloak when I see her. So the cloak is a strong representation of Mary Magdalene. And you'll often see her in art depicted wearing a cloak. So let's talk about some ways that you can work with Mary Magdalene and different things that she would enjoy being a part of in your spiritual and magical practice. Because Mary Magdalene is the feminine Christ, she is the Lord, we can work with her in prayer. In your prayers, you can pray to Mary Magdalene, you can pray with Mary Magdalene, and rosaries are also a great way to connect with Mary Magdalene. This is my Mary Magdalene rosary. It's got a little depiction of Mary Magdalene here. And so I wear this a lot when I work with her. I also carry it with me sometimes, and I will pray to her with this rosary. Also, anything having to do with your faith and your belief, specifically with your religion and spirituality, Mary Magdalene can help you with and support you through, and any kind of spiritual study. Mary Magdalene loves to be a part of spiritual growth and any kind of religious study and learning. She loves to be a part of that. Mary Magdalene can also help you with trust and belief. So just like with faith and your religious faith, she also can help with believing in yourself and believing in divinity and trusting the universe, source, whatever you call God and goddess. Trusting that these energetic beings are there for you. Trust in her, in Mary Magdalene. Trust in the feminine Christ. She can help you with all these things. Trust with yourself and trust with divinity and the beyond. Something you can also do with Mary Magdalene is divination. Really any kind of magical working can be amplified with Mary Magdalene's presence and assistance because she is such a strong spiritual being and she has ascended to enlightenment. So she can be very, very helpful with any kind of spiritual working, magical working, but divination specifically, she can help with, help you to bring clarity to situations and help you receive messages. So that is everything about Mary Magdalene. Well, all the basics about Mary Magdalene. There's a lot more information out there about Mary Magdalene, and if you have interest in her, I encourage you to pick up some good books written by reputable authors to get more knowledge about Mary Magdalene. I do think I will be teaching a class about Mary Magdalene through my academy. At some point down the line, we'll see when the time is right. I'm sure Mary Magdalene will let me know. But if you're interested in that, if you want to learn more about Mary Magdalene from me and my channel and my academy, comment that down below so I know that people are interested. And remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy these videos so I can keep making this content here on YouTube. And remember, you can hit that join button below this video to become a member of my channel and get access to members only perks. There's a new poll up in the community tab for members, so join now to be able to cast your vote in that poll. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Blessed be.